But I thought the show itself was great. The main event, let's get into it, honestly. That was the biggest part about the show, and we'll work our way down from there, I guess. It was the Iron Man match, as you mentioned, a terrific match. I thought the build, honestly, to me anyway, I thought was the better part of the show going into Revolution. They established more of an issue. Bryan had to run the gauntlet against a variety of opponents. The MJF formula of having to beat X, Y, and Z is fucking stupid, but, hopefully we can move past that. The match itself was phenomenal. And in Iron Man matches, it's an exciting stipulation, but I feel like they have the tough time sometimes of remaining interesting for the full time limit, especially if it's 60 minutes and not 30. There can be periods where it's boring, and honestly, that's part of the reason why, for as great as the match is, I feel like Shawn and Brett is sometimes overrated from WrestleMania 12. Don't tell anyone I said that. But I feel like that's not a match I would go back and watch often because there's not a lot of exciting parts. And I know it was 96 and it's a different time and whatever. I understand that. But not even by today's standards, I just don't think it's a legendary match in the way that people make it out to be. This match can be this for this company. And I feel like it accomplished so much, not only just in terms of being a great match, but I feel like, and I'm curious to get your take on this, in being a turning point for MJF. As someone, and we already knew he could go, but I feel like this has got to erase any doubt that this guy is as talented and as skilled and as excellent in the ring as he is on the mic. This really showed that the guy's capable of great matches and that he doesn't need to wrestle weekly to prove that. I feel like this was honestly a bigger performance for him. We already knew Bryan Danielson was one of the GOATs, but I feel like this was a match where Danielson did not carry him through, but I feel like this was more important for Danielson, or rather for MJF, to really prove that he belongs at the top of the food chain in AEW, and I feel like he did just that.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things, I think the AEW fans in general have underrated him. Obviously, you don't see him that much, but I mean, MJF as a whole, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a bad match that he had. I mean, he stole the show with Darby in 2021, I believe, at Full Gear. Yep. That match was amazing. His matches with Jericho, even though whatever, those are good. His match with Hangman were good.
Punk
were good. I mean, he really hasn't missed yet. And even the Cody match, I wish we kind of got more out of that. That was kind of a one and done. But I mean, from where he's gone from there, I mean, the sky's the limit at this point. I think he's been a great champion. Obviously, he hasn't wrestled that much, but just every time he's on pay-per-view wrestling, you can just tell how good this guy is. And it honestly kind of solidifies, to me at least, if they can't re-sign him, they might be in deep trouble. He's a fucking star, and at this point, he's the only really homegrown star that they have. Besides that, it's all old WWE retreads, basically. They really need to re-sign him, because even people that don't watch wrestling that I know, text me, oh, what's up with this MJF guy? People know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He brings buzz, and it is what it is. But if they can't re-sign him, I think that'd be a huge, huge loss.
He's actually on Impractical Jokers tonight, too. He's actually making an appearance on that show as well. But, yeah, no, I mean, I've seen speculation from a few people that they didn't know if they would put the title on MJF if he hadn't already re-signed. Maybe not re-signed, but at least signed an extension when he came back in the fall. Do you feel like that could be the case, or are you adamant that when he says his contract is still up on January 1st or whatever it is, 2024, that is indeed still the case? Or do you think he might have signed an extension?
I think his contract's still done at that point.
Do you feel the same way about FTR? Because I've seen the same speculation about them.
I mean, I saw speculation that they re-signed, but then I've seen other people say that they haven't. So
I know Dax said that they haven't, but I mean, he also could be, doing the character stuff.
No,
so
I mean, I think MJF, he might have got more money in the extension, but I mean, I feel like I keep seeing stuff of him saying that he wants to leave in 2024 WWE. I don't know if it's just the work or stuff, but I mean, now that he has a championship, I don't know. I just feel like they couldn't, even if it's still he's up at the end of the year, I feel like they would still have, at that time, they still would have to put the belt on him. If not, he wouldn't be on TV at all, I feel like. But I don't know. I guess we'll see, but I have a feeling it's up. For what he says, he would technically be lying to himself. He's like, oh yeah, I'm waiting for 2024. He has all the leverage now, so theoretically, if that's what he's looking for, that's the perfect scenario. He's won the belt. He's the most over person in the company. draws ratings, draws merch, does all that stuff, gets a reaction, da-da-da-da. Like, in 2024, like, he can literally wait. Like, I'm the biggest person in your company, and then going to WWE, like, I can bring all this to you. So it's like, I feel like as a businessman, which seemingly seems to be a good one, that'd be the correct thing to do if you're really interested in just the money portion of it.
Yeah, and he's in a prime position, but do you think Tony Khan would put the belt on him knowing there's a chance he might not re-sign? But I agree with you, though. I think he is still up on January 1st. I feel like he would be foolish, regardless of whether he won the championship or not, because let's say they didn't put the belt on him. And because he's like, I'm not signing an extension, let's say he stayed adamant about that, and they kept it really quiet, and we just don't know about it. Regardless of whether, if they didn't put the belt on him, I feel like they would almost be forced to, because the guy's the best part of the show. What, are you going to keep MJF off the show for a fucking year until his contract expires? That makes no sense. They're not going to fire him. They're not going to relegate him to the mid-card. They can't bury him. I mean, that doesn't even make for a good show. I mean, the guy's that good where that wouldn't even make sense. But like you said, too, I don't think just because of the fact that he's champion, that automatically means that means he must have re-signed. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, his contract isn't up for another 10 months. They can easily put the belt on him now through Double or Nothing or through All Out or whatever it might be. And then he can always lose the title to Full Gear or whatever it is. And then you're right. I feel like regardless of whether or not they put the belt, or Tony Khan told him they would put the belt on him back in the fall when he came back, I feel like you would be foolish to re-sign at that point, because he would be throwing away all that leverage money, like you said, from WWE potentially offering him the world to go over there. I know the report came out from Fightful. We told the WWE guy, I'll see you next year. I feel like that's a fucking work. I feel like he works everyone. But I feel like you would be foolish to not explore that option, though. Same thing with FTR, and same thing with Brian Cage. Same thing is being said about him right now, too.
No, exactly. I feel like, especially if you're him, like I said, he is the guy. Like, you'd be a fool to re-sign when he was hot at that point, but now he's even at a hotter level. Even if, like you said, even if they take the belt off him in the next couple of months, or next 6 to 9 months, like, he still had the championship. He literally was must-see TV while he was champion. You can't make those accolades go away. Like, even if you take the belt off him, don't push him, whatever, he is what makes a lot of people, specifically like myself and other people that yeah, we're more WWE people, but like, he's one of those people that I watch Dynamite weekly just to see him. Like him, FTR, a couple other, maybe some other old WWE people, but also some AEW people as well. But like, he is like one of the only AEW people I'll go out of my way to watch just so I can see him, because he's that good. So I think it'd be a mistake to re-sign, because like I said, now he's at his peak. I mean, at that point, like, maybe they knew he was going to get to this level, or thought he'd get to this level, but, I mean, the guy's fucking amazing.
No, he's fantastic. He's killing in his current role, and I think, again, he already had a lot of great matches under his belt in this company, but I feel like that match on Sunday should really put that conversation to rest as far as whether he can actually go in the ring. He's just a fucking Miz with I mean, give me a break. I mean, the guy is incredible in every aspect. I'm not super high in some stuff that he does. Honestly, I was in the minority of people that didn't like the water thrown to the kid. His response at the press conference was funny. I just don't like that sort of stuff, because the kid did nothing, and it's also a child, and I feel like that could be turned into an assault thing. Listen, I know it's like, oh, that sounds soft and whatever. I completely get that, but I don't know. I wouldn't do that personally, but he also likes to push the boundaries and use the excuse, well, it's a character. I wouldn't do that. If it was a fucking adult and it was some guy being a mark or whatever, I feel like that's within reason. But with some random kid just sitting there, I mean, that's kind of just being an asshole. So other than that, though, I think the guy's killing it right now, and I love his current work. That being said, who do you think lies ahead for MJF? Having beaten Bryan Danielson, retained the title against him, he's already beaten Ricky Starks, so Winter is coming. He's been champion now for almost 4 months. He's with only 2 title defenses under his belt, but I feel like he's just getting started. I feel like there's so many more people he can face, from a Darby Allin at some point to a babyface Adam Cole. You can revisit the Wardlow feud at some point. Even Jack Perry has a one-off match on Dynamite. I feel like there's a lot of people you can have him defend against. It's more a matter of who you have him face next, and to me, I feel like the answer is Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a lot of opponents he can face. Seemingly, I think, theoretically, Page should be the next person. I mean, he just beat Moxley. I mean, they did tease him kind of thing on Wednesday, so hopefully you don't get that, the Moxley and Page kind of continuing. But I think realistically, as a babyface right now, Hangman would be the perfect next opponent for MJF.
Yeah, they'll probably, I would say that for Double or Nothing. I mean, I guess you could do it on TV before, and then what do you do? Double or nothing? Do you do a rematch? I guess that's possible.